Welcome to an episode of Budget Conscious Construction. I'm your host, Victor, trying to help you get into a new house or even just the first ground level of buying land this year. Maybe you want to do a house later on, but you want to find out what's the best way to purchase property to get started so that you're able to stay within budget and you're not draining your wallet, right? That's the whole goal. Stick around to the end. I've got a tidbit on the best way to find the cheap, most affordable property, which nobody really told me. I had to learn my own way, and I was like, wow, I should have known this beforehand. So, anyways, we're going to get started today with just talking about strictly land. Let's just talk about purchasing land. We're wanting to build a house. So, as an owner builder, you're sitting here saying, hey, I need to buy some land. What am I going to look for when trying to buy land? Where if we're not just looking at, oh, I want the cheapest thing out there, we want something that is not going to come back and bite us later on after we've bought it and we start having issues, things that we didn't know about the land, right? So let's start with just going on the internet, finding multiple sites. You find a piece of property you like. We're going to move on till you really like it. Let's talk about the surroundings of that property. Let's talk about what is currently there around it and what is potentially going to be built or developed within that area. Very important to learn. Go to your meetings, your town hall meetings, and find out what's on their dockets. What do they have coming up? That's what you need to know. Let's talk about schools. If it applies, find out your school distance. Go there to that piece of property in times that you would either go to school or come home from school, taking your kids or letting a bus pick them up so you can see the environment kind of in its natural habitat at those times. Let's talk about hospitals if you have elderly live with you. There's no way around it. If you're in the inner city and you're moving out, it's probably going to be more affordable, but you're going to be further away from a hospital. So take all that into consideration so that our elderly and the people who have health issues have an emergency call. They're within range of going to the hospital. Very important. We're going to move on to, after we've done all that, we're set on a piece of property. We're happy. We're ready to start talking and negotiating. This is where a perk test comes in. But before the perk test comes in the particular county that you're at, so this covers the whole region of the United States, go there and find out, what are they going to require me to do as an owner builder as far as permits? Are they going to allow you to do that? Are they going to want a drawing? Are they going to want an architect? What are they going to want? Find that out first. Then let's talk about perks. Perk test is just a way of saying soil test. Perk test, soil test. It's going to figure out what type of dirt you have on that piece of property, whether it'll drain or not. If you're in a city and you're hooked to the city, it's not going to matter as much, but it will help you know where you have good ground and where not to put your house. If you're out in the suburbs or out in the country where you'll need a well and septic, you probably definitely, and it's not a probably, you definitely need to have a perk test before trying to buy. You want to look for good ground that you can get a conventional septic tank on. Why is that? It's because it's most affordable is a conventional septic tank, less moving parts. I won't even talk about the other septic tank units. We can go ATU, or we can go on up to a mound. These are things you can look up, but let's try not to get into that. Let's see if you can find a piece of property that perks out very well. You can put a conventional septic tank. Then, once you got placement of your septic tank or where the good ground is, let's talk about house placement. Once you get house placement done, this is where you're going to put your dream home at. We want to start figuring out what's it going to cost to get power to that house. If you're out in the rural areas and you've got to run power for a long distance, then obviously it's going to cost more. In the city, even if if you're attaching to the city power grid there and you're like, okay, all my utilities are going to be local right here, you still want to know what it's going to cost to be 40 foot off the road versus 100 foot to the backside of your property off the road, because they're still going to have to run utilities to that house. So let's find that out. That's another important thing you should ask and get priced. And then I think that might sum it up to the very end. Once you've got that figured out, let's talk about land clearing. And the reason I'm using land clearing for last is because once everything's already set in stone where the house is going to go, what type of house you're going to put there, whether it's going to be basement, slab, or crawl space, you're going to now want to see what's it going to cost to get to that house with your driveway. And also, if you're going to be digging out for a basement, excavator, or whatever, you're going to need to get a grader in there and just have them to come in there and give you a kind of ballpark, a low and a high ballpark. That's what I would do. And that kind of sums up what you're looking to put in your base budget for a house property. We're not talking about the house. We're talking about strictly the land. We're not talking about square foot for building. Sometimes when people put on YouTube or wherever, they'll put, cost per square foot, but it's not always mentioned that that's just the house. It's not talking about the land. Now, sometimes they throw that number in there, but for me, I'm going to just tell you, we're just talking about land. The square foot house will be different. We'll do a video for that for you, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. So hopefully this helps. This kind of clears up some things. For tidbits for the end for you that have stayed around, let's talk about my favorite thing that I learned when buying land. Very excited about this topic because if somebody would have told me that a long time ago, I probably would have been more social, honestly. I saved money on my land, but I could have saved a lot more because there was some land that slipped through my hands multiple times. If I would have knew the individuals, I could have probably bought a piece from them. And that is it's free. Making friends. Believe it or not, I ran across multiple people that own land, sold the land, and I'm sitting here thinking, I would love to have that piece of property. But somebody else bought it and they just made friends with them. Didn't even know them. Oh, I don't know them, but a month or two. And they said, hey, I'll sell you a piece. And what I call that is picking your neighbors. And when you start talking about land and you own a piece of property, there's nothing better than being able to pick your own neighbors. So you start out and you're being friendly with people, and they might have a piece of property for you. You're in a coffee shop, you're at a eatery, dinery, whatever you want to call it. Just be nice to people. Make friends with people. Know who is in the area that you're trying to move. You never know. Somebody might be there who will give you an offer and they'll go, hey, you know what? You're looking for land. You're about to build, right? And yeah, I am. Then they'll say, well, I have a piece of property. I wouldn't mind selling you. It's not for sale, but I wouldn't mind selling it to you. And that, my friend, is how you save money. And there's no way around it. So hopefully that helps. The only other way that I would say would be look at public records, find the pieces that are being sold by owner that have weeds covering up signs and stuff. And eventually, you'll find some of those. I did find some of those, and they were priced significantly low. So keep an eye on stuff like that. Those are the gems that sit, and people don't have to sell them, so they don't think nothing about it. They just kind of let it sit. They put a sign up, and next thing you know, there's moss or whatever's growed all over the sign. Find out and get to hunting, get a piece of land. I've got videos coming up, and we're going to talk about square footage, how I was able to build under $100 a square foot and have really nice quality insides of the house as far as my finishes. So hopefully this helps. Thank you for coming by and check us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that share link. Send it to your friends. Let's all learn something. And if you got projects coming up or projects you've already done, feel free to hit me an email. Send it to me. And let me know how your budget did and where you went wrong on your budget that cost you to pull your hair out, vice versa. Thank you. You guys have a great day. This budget's so tight, the goats are saving cheese, mama.